Hello. Today I want to explain one of the basics of change management process and especially the emotional responses based on the current events of the COVID-19 crisis and how this can help your business for the future. Next to the terrible health issues this virus is causing, it also has a large economical impact with a lot of uncertainties and stress. So when the virtual or actual lockdowns are over and people get back to work, there's the opportunity to start working in a different way than we did before. Now is your chance to get your future vision right for your company and guide your employees to the next level. With all the new insights of working together in a different way, working from home, able to spend more quality time with your children, family and loved ones, people do not expect you to go back to the old situation before this event. That means I might find ways to stay regularly in this outside office. As said, I will focus on the emotional responses and change management.
Why we face resistance is because within every new situation, people will go through a change curve, and it all has to do with endings and beginnings. Before you're ready to start something new, you need to let go or end the past way of working. There are 3 stages in a change or transition. Stage 1, ending, losing or letting go. Stage 2 is the transition zone. And stage 3, the new beginnings. When implementing a new thing like an excellence program at a company, we always encounter resistance with some employees, sometimes more and most of the time less when managed properly. The first stage has to do with letting go of the past situation. Humans are used to habits because our reptilian brain can predict this in their scanning of pain and pleasure. Our rational brain or neocortex is not used when we do not feel safe. People are open for change, but they do not want to be forced to be changed. We then have a hard time to let go of something that we are comfortable with. People must accept that something is ending before we can begin to accept the new idea. This is the first stage. If we don't acknowledge the emotions that people are going through, we'll likely encounter resistance throughout the entire change process. People may experience emotions like denial.
We have very little problem in this country at this moment.
Fear.
Meanwhile, the panic of purchasing toilet paper has reached a new low.
Anger. Sadness. Disorientation. Frustration and uncertainty. At this stage, people may experience primal behavioral emotions like freezing, fleeing, and fighting. But in our civilized world, these instances are more subtle. Freezing can be that people are being overwhelmed and don't know what to say. Subtle fleeing from a situation can be recognized when people are looking away, or hanging up on the phone, or walking away in the midst of a conversation. And fight mode can be a verbal, posture intimidation, or even physical. These are all symptoms that people are not in their comfort zone and need support in getting through this first stage in accepting that they need to let go of the certainties of the past and being open for the beginnings of the new future situation. As a leader, it's important to accept that people will have resistance and understand their emotions. During this stage, people are in a mourning process. The leaders need to understand that during this stage, all information of the new situations is not going to land, as most are still in a survival mode. They can be in a denial, disorientation, or frustration. Give them time to accept the change and to let go of the old, and try to get everyone to talk about what they're feeling. In these conversations, make sure that you listen empathically and communicate openly about what's going to happen. Emphasize how people will be able to apply their skills, experience and knowledge once you implement the change. Explain how you give them what you need, for example training and resources, to work effectively in the new environment. People often fear what they do not understand, so the more you can educate them about a realistic future and communicate how their knowledge and skills are an essential part of getting there, the likelier they are to move on to the next stage. So strong, clear, exhaustive, repetitive, and especially sincere communication is key. In our case, the world leaders are explaining the seriousness of a certain situation. They are addressing the country via television messages that are unheard of in normal situations. They're showing the support to the people and acknowledging the difficult times we are in. Real leaders guide people through these difficult times, but are also making sure everybody will cross safely. But it's not only the task of the leaders to make sure everybody crosses. Their responsibility is to provide all needs, resources and infrastructures within their possibilities for the people to be able to change. But the people need to take responsibility themselves as well, to make sure they are starting the transition.
Early adopters will go through this emotional change curve in a split second. Some will get stuck and stay stuck in the twilight zone. The last part is resembled very nice in a small booklet of Spencer Johnson and Ken Blanchard, Who Moved My Cheese?
The second stage is the transition zone, like a bridge between the old and the new. The second stage starts when people are accepting the change. When they had negative emotions regarding the change, they now conclude that they cannot prevent the new situation from happening. They are now open for the details of the new situation. As said, various people will need various amount of time to go through stage 1. Therefore, having the information available for all is very important. Leaders need to understand that repetitive information sharing is needed, so whether people are ready at their own pace and time, they are supported by this. Weekly or even daily press conferences from our leaders can help us to support this, especially during uncertain times where our leaders are not sure as well. It is paramount that they will share the information what they do know. Sharing a plan for the next time frame, which can be overseen for the leaders and the people involved, can help tremendously. For example, taking the decision for quarantine period for the next 4 weeks and come with an updated plan after 3 weeks will give some certainty in uncertain times. This can also be seen as creation of short-term wins, step 6 of the 8-step process of leading change of Dr. John Kotter. During the transition zone, people will still be attached to the old, while they are also trying to adopt to the new. This can be experienced as a higher workload with tasks on top of the old tasks, while learning new ways of working. Or it can be a stage of great creativity, innovation, empowerment and renewal. Much more online tools are used nowadays than before, like Skype, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, FaceTime and WhatsApp video conferencing. But even online brainstorming tools like Miro, idea boards, real-time boards, Bubble, Koggle, MindMaster, Wise Mapping and of course Google Classroom. I really hope that these tools will guide us towards a new world where we can decrease our carbon footprint tremendously compared to the situation before the COVID-19 outbreak. If we are not forced to travel much for our new jobs, the work from home instead of spending hours per day in trains, planes and automobiles, we will be more effective and efficient than before. Being with our family at crucial moments is way much better for the productivity and the company than forced to be present in an office because the boss expects us to do so. During this COVID-19 time, we're also encountered with both fear or isolation and a lot of heartwarming initiative where people are reaching out to each other. The phrase, "How are you doing?" is not a hollow one nowadays. In the past, people didn't really want to know about my emotions or health. Now, the conversations are more sincere. People do understand when I'm afraid of my health and the health of my loved ones. Especially now my family is infected with the coronavirus as well. During the second stage, the transition zone, you can expect anger, resentment and skepticism towards the change initiative, but also low morale and low productivity. This because of the higher perceived workload. People can be anxious about their new role, status or identity. John Kotter is referring in his model as step 7, don't let up. So great leaders will take these chances to support the people struggling during the transition where needed, and they will encourage and support the creativity and innovation to those who are ready for it. The third stage is the one of the new beginnings. The last transition stage is a time of acceptance and energy. People have begun to embrace the change initiative. They're building the skills they need to work successfully in the new way, and they're starting to see early wins from their efforts. At this stage, people are likely to experience high energy, openness to learning, and renewed commitment to the group or their role. As people begin to adapt the change, it's essential that you help them to sustain it. It's also time to celebrate the success and achievements of all involved. But bear in mind that not everybody will cross the transition bridge at the same time. In the past, changes were one-time events. It's good to understand that currently change is highly frequent. We need people to adapt quicker to small changes and larger events. It's like a wave in the sea, one following the other, with sometimes a larger effect like a tidal wave. People's new objective is not to learn how to swim and stay with their heads above the water, and absolutely not how to dive underneath each wave. It's their objective to adapt and learn how to ride the waves and enjoy the process. Now, beginning of April 2020, we have not reached the end of the corona crisis transition. We do not have a concrete example on how the new situation looks like and how we have celebrated the outcome. But you can use your imagination and sculpt your outcome of how you want your future to look like and what is needed to get there.
My goal was to explain one of the basics of change management process and especially the emotional response based on the current events of this COVID-19 crisis. I've explained that when the actual virtual lockdowns are over and people get back to work, there now is the opportunity to start working in a different way than we did before. And with all the new insights in this forced way of working, people are now expecting from you as a leader to support them, as people do not expect you to go back to the old situation before this event. So change has a lot to do with emotions and consists of 3 phases: endings, transitions and beginnings. Bear in mind that losers have excuses and winners have a plan. And now it's your time to have a successful plan for the future. And I wish you all to have a prosperous one and a healthy one.